My dear friend, listen carefully. This is not a message that has come to you by accident. This is not just another video playing in the background of your life. No, my friend. This is a divine interruption, a moment carved out in heaven that found its way to you right here, right now. So don't scroll. Don't silence it. Don't let your mind wander. Something sacred is about to unfold, and you need to hear it, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. Because if you've been wondering why the weight's been so heavy lately, if you've been asking why it feels like life's been coming at you from every side, I need you to understand this. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. The enemy's been loud because he knows what's coming. He's been relentless because he senses the shift before you do. You're on the edge of something divine, and whether you see it clearly or not, the signs are all around you. The tears you cried alone, they were noticed. The questions you never got answers to, they were not ignored. All of it. It's been building toward this. Right here, right now. This isn't just about burdens being lifted. It's about something awakening in you. It's about clarity, restoration, and the revival of purpose you thought you lost. So if this message finds you, don't keep it to yourself. Somebody else needs this same light. Like it, share it, and if your heart feels it, comment 777 below, a sign of divine completion. Because what's beginning in you today, it's not random. It's God's fingerprint, and He's just getting started. You know, sometimes life gets so loud, so heavy, so relentless, that you start to believe you've been forgotten. You start looking back over your shoulder, wondering, did I miss it? Did I waste my moment? And that's a pain only those who've lived long enough to lose things can truly understand. But let me tell you something. If you're still breathing, your purpose is still alive. If you're still here, there is still something in motion, something real, something divine. Now I've seen what it looks like when a person has held on by a thread, when they've kept showing up with nothing but faith in their back pocket. And I want you to know, that kind of faith doesn't go unnoticed. That kind of resilience, it shakes the heavens. So, if you've been wondering when the season changes, let me lean in close and tell you, this is that moment. This isn't a coincidence. It's not luck. And it's sure as heaven isn't karma. This is the unfolding of what was always written into your life. You see, people talk about reward as if it's some kind of paycheck for pain. But what's happening here? This ain't about reward. It's about revelation. God is simply revealing what He already assigned to you. He's bringing into the light what's been held back, not because you weren't worthy, but because the timing wasn't ready. And maybe you thought the best was behind you. Maybe you believed that whatever was coming, it was coming for someone else. Maybe the years passed by too fast, and the fire inside grew dim. But here's the truth, and I want you to hear me like you've never heard me before. God doesn't age like we do. His promises don't expire. His calendar ain't your calendar. While you were counting days and burying dreams, He was preparing a moment just like this. I know how easy it is to mistake silence for absence. You go through dry seasons where every prayer feels like it's bouncing off the ceiling. Every door slams shut before you even reach for the handle. And in that kind of quiet, something inside of you starts to break. But listen to me. Even when you couldn't hear Him, He was still speaking through the silence. He was still moving in the unseen. You were being refined, not rejected. You were being stretched, not sidelined. And the honor that's coming into your life now? It's not the kind that fades with applause. It's not the kind you have to earn from people who don't know your story. No. This is honor that comes from above, placed on your life because of who you are when no one's watching. It's divine recognition, not of what you've achieved, but of what you've endured. Some of you went through years where hope seemed like a distant echo, where your dreams felt like burdens instead of blessings. You stopped talking about the things you used to believe in, not because you didn't care, but because it hurt too much to hope. You folded them up and tucked them away in the corners of your heart because thinking about them brought more pain than joy. But let me tell you something. Just because you buried something doesn't mean it died. Some things need to sit in the soil for a season. Some dreams need to rest so they can rise stronger. And now is that season. That buried dream, it's time to bring it back to the surface. Dust it off. Hold it up to the light again. God is breathing life back into what you thought was long gone. You see, pain has a way of distorting our identity. When you've been let down enough, criticized enough, worn out enough, you start to forget who you are. You start walking through life with your head down, forgetting that you were made in the image of the Creator. But I want to remind you, you never lost your worth. It didn't fade. It didn't shrink. It just got buried beneath the weight of life, beneath the weariness, beneath the noise. And now, God is clearing all of that away. He's not giving you a new identity. He's restoring the one you had before life tried to strip it from you. You're not damaged goods. You're not too old. You're not too late. And hear me now. You are not invisible. You are seen, fully, deeply, lovingly. And not only are you seen, but you're being called back into alignment with who you've always been. There's a sacred reawakening happening in this season. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's real, it's steady, it's deliberate. And if you lean in, if you listen with the ears of your spirit, you'll feel it. You'll sense that shift in the atmosphere, that trembling in your bones that whispers, "This is different." Now, this season isn't just about you getting back what you lost. It's about you stepping into what you were always meant for. That's why the old doors had to close. That's why the wrong people had to walk away. That's why certain chapters had to end. Because where you're going can't be built on what was. It has to be built on what is now becoming. Some of y'all still holding on to relationships that expired seasons ago, thinking you can carry them into your calling. But let me tell you, God's not interested in dragging the past into your promise. He's more interested in setting you free so you can receive what's been prepared for you without compromise, without conflict, without contamination. This is a season of fresh hope, a time when new relationships will enter your life. Ones that won't drain you, but fill you. People who see your worth without needing a resume. People who honor your heart without needing to be convinced. God is moving hearts behind the scenes. Conversations are happening that you haven't heard yet. Decisions are being made in rooms you haven't walked into yet. Alignments are forming that have nothing to do with your effort and everything to do with your surrender. Because here's the thing. This isn't something you earned. This is something you were meant to walk into. This is what grace looks like when it matures. It looks like doors opening without knocking. It looks like favor following you even when you're not trying to chase it. It looks like the right people recognizing you, not because of what you do, but because of who you are when the lights are off and the crowd is gone. This next chapter in your life, it's not going to look like the last one. It's not going to be built on hustle and struggle. It's going to be built on flow and faith. God is showing you that you don't have to fight for what He's earned, what He's already prepared. What's coming to you now is drawn to the version of you that was formed in the fire. The version of you that stood firm when it would have been easier to run. So I'm asking you right now, can you believe again? Can you look at that old dream, that quiet calling, that whisper you ignored, and trust that it still has life in it? Can you bring it before God? Not to demand it back, but to surrender it once more and say, if it's your will, Lord, breathe on this, because He will. And when He does, it won't look like something you have to prove. It'll look like something that proves you, not to the world, not to the critics, but to your own heart, that you never lost your purpose. You just needed to remember who you are. Sometimes the biggest changes in our lives happen without warning. No announcement, no drum roll, no big signs in the sky. Just quiet shifts behind closed doors. Quiet movements that nobody sees, until the results show up, undeniable and undeniable. And that's exactly what's happening right now. You may not realize it yet, but something sacred is moving behind the curtain of your life. It's already begun. See, God has a way of working that doesn't fit into our schedule or expectations. While we're trying to figure out how to fix what's broken, He's already been ahead of us, arranging the pieces in ways we never imagined. And you've been thinking, it's all standing still. You've been wondering why that relationship didn't mend, why that door stayed locked, why the atmosphere around you felt so stale and stuck. But the truth is, there's been a rearrangement happening, and it's not being done by human hands. This is divine work. When God rearranges something, He doesn't just tweak the edges. He turns the whole thing around. He changes hearts. He softens what was hardened. He mends what we gave up trying to repair. And right now, He's moving the very people you thought would never come back. The ones you believed were too far gone, too hardened by pride or pain. But He's touching their hearts. He's whispering in their spirits. He's placing something in them that draws them back to center. That broken bond? That relationship that felt like it flatlined a long time ago? Don't be surprised if you start to see it breathe again. Not because you pushed, not because you begged, but because God decided it was time. Time for healing. Time for restoration. You didn't orchestrate it. You couldn't have. That's how you'll know it's Him. Some situations in your life have felt set in stone. You looked at them like walls, immovable, permanent. Maybe it was a family dynamic. Maybe it was the silence between you and someone you used to love. Maybe it was a bitterness that you thought could never be untangled. But God is the only one who can break what's been hardened and build what's been shattered. And He's doing that work now, not in loud, showy ways, but in sacred, sovereign motion. You see, restoration isn't always loud. Sometimes it happens in the quiet moments when your heart finally lets go of trying to control the outcome. Sometimes it happens when you stop speaking and just start trusting. And while you were surrendering, while you were choosing peace over pride, while you were praying instead of pushing, God was moving. He was behind the scenes adjusting circumstances, preparing hearts, shifting what looked unshiftable. And let me tell you, there will be people in your life who begin to look at you differently. The same ones who misunderstood you, who judged you by the chapter they walked in on, they'll start to see you with new eyes. And not because you said anything, not because you tried to prove yourself, but because something inside of you changed. That light that's growing in you, it's real. It's undeniable. It's not something you put on. It's something that's rising up from the inside. There's a peace in you now that wasn't there before. A calm confidence that speaks louder than any argument ever could. You don't need to explain yourself anymore. You don't have to defend your decisions or justify your healing. Because what God is doing in you, it's visible. It shows in the way you walk. It shows in the way you listen. It shows in the way you no longer react to things that used to knock you down. And that transformation? It speaks louder than words. The people around you will notice. They'll sense it before they can name it. They'll look at you and wonder, what happened? What changed? But you'll know. You'll know that what they're seeing isn't a performance. It's a testimony. A living, breathing reflection of what happens when you let God do the work only He can do. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about proving anybody wrong. This isn't about saying, "See, I told you so." No, this is bigger than that. This is about grace, about what it looks like when heaven steps into a life and begins to rearrange everything with precision. And when that happens, the need for validation fades away. You're no longer trying to be seen. You're no longer striving to be accepted. You're simply walking in the reality of who you've become. Some people won't understand the new peace in your life. They won't understand how you can be so calm after all you've been through. They'll look for explanations, but you won't offer one. Because there is no explanation that fully captures what God has done. All you can say is, "I'm not who I used to be." And that truth, that quiet truth, will speak louder than any defense ever could. See, when God steps in and starts putting things back together, He doesn't just fix the surface, He goes deep. He heals from the inside out. He changes how you see yourself, how you love others, how you approach the battles in front of you. He gives you vision, not just for the future, but for who you really are. Beneath the scars, beneath the history, beneath the survival mode. And maybe that's what's happening in your life right now. Maybe you're sensing that shift. Maybe you felt that stillness come over you. That's not weakness. It's preparation. That's not hesitation. It's discernment. You're not frozen. You're focused. Because what's coming next will require a different version of you. Not the one who always fights to be understood. Not the one who reacts out of pain. But the one who's healed. The one who's whole. The one who's finally, fully aware that God is in control. So let the healing happen. Let the rearrangement continue. Stop trying to write the script for how it needs to unfold. God is already doing more than you know. And what He's bringing into your life isn't fragile. It's firm. It's built to last. It's not the result of manipulation or negotiation. It's the result of surrender. He's rearranging people. He's repairing what was fractured. He's opening hearts that were closed, healing minds that were hardened. And He's doing it in such a way that no one gets the glory but Him. So if you're seeing new grace in old places, if the people who left are now reaching out, if situations that felt stuck are suddenly moving, don't Don't be surprised. Don't resist it. Just recognize it for what it is. God's hand, steady and sure, bringing everything back into divine alignment. And the most beautiful part? You don't have to force a single thing. Not one conversation, not one apology, not one reconciliation. Because when it's real, when it's from God, it doesn't require pressure. It carries peace. It doesn't require performance. It speaks through presence. So take a breath. Lift your head. You're walking in a new atmosphere now. One where God's voice is louder than the noise, where His movements are greater than your understanding. And in this place, restoration is not just possible, it's already happening. My dear friend, do you remember what Jesus said in Matthew 7:25? The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. Now I want you to hear me, really hear me. Life doesn't always warn you before the storm hits. Sometimes the wind howls without mercy, the rain pounds without pause, and what you thought was solid starts to shake beneath your feet. But God doesn't just want you to survive the storm. He's building you into something that can stand through it. He's not giving you strength that comes and goes with emotions or circumstances. No. What He's laying inside you now is unshakable. There comes a time when the old patterns, the old triggers, the old traps, they stop working on you. Not because the enemy gave up, but because God built something new in you. You've matured. You've prayed through too many midnights and cried too many silent tears to be fooled by the same distractions. What used to sway you doesn't touch you anymore. Not because it stopped trying, but because God laid a new foundation under your feet. And it's solid. It's spiritual. It's eternal. You've been through seasons that took more than you thought you could lose. You've seen people walk away who once swore they'd stay. You've faced storms you didn't think you'd make it out of. And yet, here you are. Not just alive, but standing. And that's not a coincidence. That's divine architecture. That's a spiritual foundation that hell itself couldn't crack. See, God's not just handing out blessings. He's laying structure. He's forming something that lasts. This isn't a breakthrough that fades in a month or a peace that vanishes when the pressure rises again. No, this is rooted. This is built to endure. The kind of strength that doesn't need applause to feel secure. The kind of faith that doesn't need perfect conditions to believe. You're stepping into a season that's not held together by hustle, but by heaven's hand. And here's what's powerful. You're not being led by pain anymore. You're being guided by favor. It's not the struggle that's setting your steps now. It's purpose. It's alignment. When God starts moving like this, doors don't just open. They open and stay open. Relationships don't just form, they're anointed. Opportunities don't just appear, they're orchestrated. You're walking into rooms where you used to knock and wait, and now they'll be expecting you. Because God already spoke your name into that space before you even arrived. But don't miss this. Just because the path is smoother doesn't mean it lacks power. In fact, it takes greater wisdom to walk in favor without forgetting who gave it. So God's not just blessing your journey, He's anchoring your character. He's refining the foundation of who you are. So that when new people enter your life, they meet the healed you, the whole you, the spiritually grounded you. Not someone still living in reaction to old pain, but someone who's processed it through wisdom. And I know some of that pain went deep. You didn't just get bruised, you bled. You didn't just stumble. You were buried for a season. But God didn't forget about you. No, He was shaping strength in silence. That delay wasn't denial, it was development. And now, the very places where you once limped will become the platform from which you run. That limp, it'll be your testimony. Because when God restores, He doesn't just cover the wound. He renews what was broken so thoroughly, even you'll look back and wonder how you survived. And this is the truth. The restoration won't just be seen around you. It'll be undeniable in you. The way you speak, the way you respond, the peace you carry, the boundaries you now set without guilt, the wisdom in your silence. It'll be clear that something sacred happened in your soul. And listen closely. This season, it's not fragile. It's not a window of blessing you have to rush to capture. This isn't some fleeting chance. This is a shift, a divine rearrangement of your foundation so that the weight of your calling can rest safely on what God has built in you. You won't have to fear losing it, because God's not giving it to you conditionally. He's entrusting it to you through transformation. And that's why He's saying, let go. Let go of the pain, not in bitterness, but in wisdom. You don't need to keep rehearsing the betrayal, the rejection, the lost years. That's not your identity anymore. That was part of the shaping. But it's not the destination. You're not the struggle. You're not the mistake. You're not the version of yourself that barely made it. You're the healed one, the called one, the chosen one, the one God pulled out so He could pour in. Let the past inform your wisdom, not your worth. Let it teach you, not trap you. And I'll tell you something real. The enemy wanted you stuck in shame, stuck in regret, stuck in questioning if God could still use someone with your past. But what the enemy didn't account for was the God who restores. And restoration, it's happening now. God is doing something deeper than external change. He's healing the parts of you that no one sees. The thoughts you never shared. The memories you couldn't shake. The tears you cried where nobody else could hear. He's been tending to the garden of your soul, pruning what needed to go, watering what still had life. And now? Now you're about to bloom. Not just survive, bloom. Because the foundation is finally strong enough to carry it. This is the season where favor isn't random. It's tailored. It's purposeful. It fits because you're aligned with what God is doing. No more chasing what was never meant for you. No more trying to convince people to see your value. This time you walk with it. You carry it. You live it. You are it. And here's the beauty. People will notice, but you won't need them to. That's how secure God is making you. That's how steady your soul is becoming. That's what it means to have your house built on the rock. Let the rain come. Let the winds blow. You won't be moved. You've been through enough shaking. This is your time to stand. Lean on me. Take a deep breath and answer honestly. You ever walk through life with a smile on your face, but your heart feels like it's been limping for years? I'm talking about that kind of pain nobody sees. The kind you don't post about, don't talk about at family dinners, don't even whisper in your prayers because it's too old, too quiet, too deep. You just live with it. Wake up with it. go to work with it. And tell yourself, it's fine, I'm over it. But deep down, something's still bleeding. Let me tell you something. God saw it, every piece of it. He saw when you were abandoned and pretended like it didn't matter. He saw when someone broke your trust and you blamed yourself for loving too hard. He saw when the people you believed in stopped believing in you and you tried to stay strong, but inside you crumbled. That pain, that silent grief. God didn't ignore it. He never brushed it off like people did. He's been tending to those wounds the whole time, not with noise, not with lightning bolts, but with presence. Quiet, consistent presence. Because sometimes healing doesn't come loud. Sometimes it's not a revival service or a shout from heaven. Sometimes it's just the stillness of knowing He never left. He's been in the room with you while you cried on the floor and nobody knocked on the door. He's been right there when you questioned your worth, your calling, even your faith. And not once did He condemn you. Instead, He went to work, rebuilding your soul from the inside out. And now, here's the miracle. What broke you is becoming the very place where you're being rebuilt. Not just patched up, but restructured with strength you didn't have before. Let me remind you of a moment in Luke 8:43-48. There was a woman, weary from years of silent suffering, 12 years to be exact. People avoided her. Rules excluded her. She carried pain in her body and shame in her spirit. And one day, as the crowd pressed in around Jesus, she didn't shout. She didn't demand attention. She simply reached, quietly, desperately, for the edge of His robe. She didn't need to be seen. She just needed to believe. And in that moment, heaven noticed what everyone else ignored. She thought she was just reaching for healing. But what she received was so much more. Restoration, dignity, identity. Her story wasn't just rewritten, it was redeemed. And that's what God is doing for you. You're not just being healed from what hurt you. You're being reminded of who you are in Him. You're not broken merchandise. You're not someone who missed their moment. You're not too old, too tired, or too late. You are His. And He's restoring what life, time, and trauma tried to steal from you, piece by piece. That's why you've been feeling things shift lately, even if you can't explain it. That's why your heart's been more tender, your tears more frequent, your spirit more sensitive. Because God's drawing you back into intimacy. He's clearing the fog, giving you ears to hear Him again. You thought you lost your connection, but He never hung up. He was just waiting for your heart to be still enough to listen. And here's the truth. He's not just healing the betrayal. They turned their back, yes, but He never did. He's not just healing the disappointment. What didn't work out wasn't punishment. It was protection. He's not just healing your fatigue. He's exchanging it for endurance. You're not surviving anymore. You're coming back to life. See, some of y'all have been walking around functioning but empty, achieving but numb, smiling but sad. And you thought, maybe this is just how life feels now. But no, that's not living. That's spiritual starvation. And God said, not my child, not anymore. He's pouring oil on the dry places. He's breathing on the cold corners of your heart. And before this season ends, you'll see it. The joy returning, the peace making a home again, the laughter that doesn't feel forced. It's all coming back. Because what God is healing, the world didn't even know was broken. But you knew. And he knew. And now he's doing a work that doesn't need applause, because it's personal, it's deep, it's between you and him. So don't be surprised when you wake up and feel lighter. Don't question it when the bitterness fades and the peace rises. Don't second guess it when you start believing in love again, in dreams again, in yourself again. That's not coincidence. That's restoration. That's the result of God doing surgery on your soul, removing the infection of pain, stitching up the cuts, and breathing hope into what was once hollow. This ain't a surface fix. This is deep healing, and it's yours. Because when God heals, he doesn't just take the pain away. He leaves purpose in its place. So hold your head up, child of God. The worst of it didn't take you out. It just set the stage for the best of him to come through. And I've been around long enough to understand something most folks don't learn until they've been knocked down a few times. Sometimes, it's not that God's not talking. It's that he's clearing the room so you can hear him. Now I know. There have been seasons in your life where you prayed until you had no words left. Nights when you stared at the ceiling asking, "Lord, are you hearing me?" And when the silence stretched on, you started to wonder if maybe you'd lost your way. Maybe you even thought you'd lost him. But hear me when I tell you, silence doesn't mean absence. That quiet wasn't punishment. That stillness, that was a cleansing. That was God shutting down the noise, the wrong voices, the counterfeit wisdom, the opinions that were never meant to shape you. We live in a world that throws voices at us from every angle. Friends, family, news, social media, even folks in church sometimes, telling you what to think, how to feel, what to do. And if you're not careful, you start to confuse those voices with his. You start making choices out of pressure, out of guilt, out of fear, and not out of his peace. But let me tell you something about God. He doesn't traffic in manipulation. He doesn't twist your arm to pull you close. He doesn't send you messages that leave you feeling worthless, ashamed, or trapped. No. His voice has always been the voice of love. Firm, yes. Clear, yes. But never crushing, never meant to break your spirit, only to set it free. And if there's a word for this season you're stepping into, it's this: renewal. I'm talking about that moment when the fog starts to lift and you realize, wait a second, I can see again, I can hear again, I can feel again. That spiritual sharpness you thought you'd lost, it's coming back. That confidence you used to have in knowing when to move and when to wait, it's returning. You're about to trust that inner nudge again, because now you know who it comes from. I've lived long enough to know this truth. Spiritual confidence doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from knowing who you're walking with. And if you've been through a season where God felt far away, what's about to happen next is going to surprise you. You're going to realize he was closer than you ever thought. See, that gap between your prayer and his answer, that wasn't an empty space. It was a workshop. God was in there, working on the foundation, clearing out the rubble, removing every lie that made you doubt yourself. And when he clears something out, he doesn't leave you empty. He fills it with peace, with steadiness, with strength that doesn't shake every time the wind blows. Some of you listening right now, you've been led by emotions for too long. And I get it. Life hits you hard, you react. Somebody wounds you, you respond. A door closes and you spiral. But the season you're stepping into now, you're not going to be tossed around like that anymore. You're going to move from reaction to discernment, from uncertainty to stability, from second-guessing yourself to trusting the voice of God in you. Now let me tell you something I wish somebody told me years ago. Don't try to hear God like somebody else does. Stop comparing your walk with theirs. Your relationship with Him is one of a kind. He knows how to reach you in ways He won't use for anyone else. He knows the tone you'll hear, the moment you'll notice, the sign that will mean something to you alone. That's why He's been personal with you from day one. And the moment you stop trying to copy someone else's connection with God, you'll start to feel your own come alive again. You'll know when it's your turn to speak and when it's your turn to be silent. You'll step into situations with an inner certainty you can't explain, but you'll know deep down, this isn't me guessing. This is me being led. This next stretch of your life, you're not going to be out here chasing approval. You're not going to bend every time somebody questions your choices. You'll be able to walk into a room, and whether folks understand you or not, you'll stand in peace, because you know who sent you there. And listen, I don't say any of this like it's just going to happen overnight without your attention. No. This is about you leaning in, about you paying attention to that still, small voice that doesn't compete for your ears. It just waits for you to notice it. This is about trusting that God is not a God of confusion. And if it feels like chaos, it didn't come from Him. You're about to feel the anxiety start to break off you. Your mind's going to find order again. The clutter's going to clear. Thoughts that used to run wild are going to line up. And when they do, you're going to remember, wait a minute, I know this voice. I know the sound of it. I just got overwhelmed. That's all. And let me tell you, when that realization hits, something shifts. You stop feeling like you've got to fight for every step. You stop thinking you have to figure it all out before you move. You start walking with a kind of quiet confidence, knowing He's guiding me. He's got me. I'm not out here alone, making it up as I go. And if you're wondering why this part of your life feels so sacred, so delicate, it's because God's about to trust you with more. That's why He's sharpening your hearing. That's why He's clearing the static. That's why He's reminding you of His tone. See, there are new directions coming your way, new doors, new paths that lead to peace, provision, belonging, and purpose. But you can't recognize them if you're distracted by every passing voice. That's why this inner quiet matters so much. That's why He's rebuilding your focus before He multiplies your steps. So here's what I want you to hold on to. This isn't about you trying to get God's attention. This is about you realizing you already have it. You didn't lose Him. He's been here the whole time, waiting for you to be ready to hear Him in a new way. You've been through enough to know the value of a clear mind and a steady heart. You've carried enough weight to know that if you're going to run this next leg of your race, you can't be dragging the baggage of doubt, fear, and confusion behind you. You've got to let it go. And maybe this part is just for you. But I'm going to say it anyway. You're not crazy for thinking there's more for you. That quiet pull you've been feeling? That's not wishful thinking. That's not your imagination. That's God reminding you there's still work for you to do, that your life still carries weight, that your voice still matters. So as you step into this next season, don't rush to explain yourself. Don't feel like you owe anybody an answer for why you're suddenly more at peace. why your confidence came back, why you walk into a room with your head high again. You're not faking it. You're not forcing it. This is what it looks like when a person's been through the cleansing and come out sharper, steadier, and more rooted in truth. You've been through the noise. Now you're ready for the clarity. And when you start moving with that kind of spiritual discernment, people will notice. They might not understand it, but they'll feel it. And you'll know exactly what to say when they ask, "How'd you get here?" You'll smile, look them in the eye, and say, "I stopped listening to everything else, and I started listening to him." Because at the end of the day, that's the whole point of this season. To get you back to that place where you know his voice, you trust his tone, and you move with his leading. Not guessing, not hesitating, not following the crowd, but walking steady, with the confidence of someone who knows exactly who's been guiding their steps all along. When you stop stumbling in the dark and start walking with a quiet certainty you can't even put into words, it's also the moment you're stepping into a time where your inner perception, the part of you that knows without needing a headline or a sign, will be sharper than ever. You'll find yourself in moments where the choice is to speak or to stay silent, and you'll know instantly which one it is. You won't have to second guess it, you won't have to poll the room, and you won't be wrestling with, "What if I'm wrong?" You'll just know. And that knowing, my friend, will be the kind you can only get from walking with God for a while. You're going to sense things you can't explain in human terms. You'll walk into a place and just feel the temperature of the room shift. Not physically, but spiritually. You'll meet someone, and your spirit will tell you everything you need to know before a single word is exchanged. It's not paranoia, it's not suspicion, it's discernment. That's the gift God is tuning inside you right now. It's the same discernment that has kept you standing through storms you didn't even see coming. And in this next season, that gift will be like a compass you can trust, pointing you toward the right people, the right opportunities, and the right moments to move. God's bringing order to your thoughts. Those restless nights when your mind ran circles around every what if and how come are coming to an end. That mental clutter, the chaos that's been taking up space in your head, is being cleared out. You'll start to notice you can focus again, that your mind feels steady instead of scattered. And with that clarity will come peace, the kind of peace that doesn't require all your questions to be answered before it settles in your soul. Anxiety is going to lose its grip on you. That hum of worry that's been running in the background of your life for years, it's fading. You'll feel it lift. You'll realize you're not waking up braced for something bad to happen. Instead, you'll rise in the morning with a calm expectation that the day is held in good hands. And the beauty of it is, you won't even need to force that feeling. It's just going to become the new normal. And through all of this, you're going to hear something, not with your ears, but in your spirit. A simple truth, whispered right into the center of who you are. You did not lose me. I was always here. That's the reassurance you've been waiting for, not in theory, but in your bones. Because deep down, even when you felt most alone, there was a flicker inside you that said, "Don't give up just yet." That was him. That was proof that he never walked away, even when you thought he had. This is not about you suddenly becoming someone else. It's about you finally being in alignment with who you've been all along, before the noise, before the doubt, before the pain tried to rewrite your story. And now, with that alignment becomes a divine order. The inside of you and the path ahead of you will match. Your steps will flow with your spirit. The confusion that once tripped you up will be replaced with a direction so clear you'll wonder how you ever questioned it. That's the season you're in, a season of alignment, a season of order, a season where your spirit is no longer out of sync with your steps. And in that place, you'll walk lighter, stand taller, and move forward knowing you never lost him, and he never lost you. In that place, the whisper of God inside you gets so loud that it can no longer be mistaken for wishful thinking. That hunger you feel for something greater. And don't you dare call it a fantasy. Don't you dare let anyone dismiss it as a daydream. That longing has a name. It has a birthplace. It was conceived in the mind of God before you ever took your first breath. The world may not see it. They may not understand it. But heaven has already signed it into existence. You have been marked, set apart, chosen for something that will not be birthed through human ambition, but through divine intention. The changes you're witnessing in your life right now are not random strokes of good luck. They are not the result of some self-improvement plan you managed to stick with, or a strategy you learned from a book. These shifts, these open doors, these new levels of peace, these connections being formed, are the evidence of God moving. This is the fruit of an unseen hand, the careful orchestration of a Father who has been weaving together every detail behind the curtain while you thought nothing was happening. And when it finally starts to unfold, you realize it was never about your ability to make it happen. It was about your willingness to stay connected to the one who could. Some people will look at you and ask questions you don't know an answer to. They'll want to know how you made it happen, what your secret is, what step-by-step plan you followed. And you'll feel the temptation to explain, to give them something tangible they can understand. But there's a freedom in knowing you don't have to justify what God is doing. Because the truth is, there's no formula you can hand out, no checklist you can share that would replicate what He's doing in your life. This isn't a method. This is a move of God. And moves of God can't be manufactured. They can only be received. That's why your focus now isn't on proving yourself to others. It's on staying aligned with Him. Your calling doesn't require you to convince the doubters. Your calling doesn't need you to perform for the crowd. Your calling needs you to be rooted. Rooted in prayer. Rooted in His Word. Rooted in obedience. When you are connected to the source, the fruit will speak for itself. You won't have to defend it, because the transformation will be visible. The peace will be undeniable. The provision will be unmistakable. And here's the beauty. You're not walking into this next season in fear. You're walking in with confidence. Not the kind of confidence that's built on ego or applause, but the kind that comes from knowing who sent you. When you know God has called you, you stop being intimidated by the opinions of those who weren't there when He spoke it into your spirit. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into rooms you've outgrown. You stop apologizing for walking in blessings you prayed for in private. You also begin to see that the very things that once made you question yourself are now part of what qualifies you. Those years of struggle? They've built a resilience in you that can't be taught. Those seasons of silence? They've trained you to hear His voice, even in the noise. Those disappointments? They've taught you the difference between your timing and His. And they've shown you that His is always better. Every valley, every setback, every tear, it's all been preparation for the moment you're standing in right now. This is why you can hold your head high even when you don't have all the answers. You can stand tall even when the path ahead isn't fully revealed, because you know you're not the one holding this together. God is. And if He has brought you this far, He's not about to abandon you now. You may not see the full picture yet, but you trust the artist who is painting it. You may not know the exact route, but you trust the guide who has never led you astray. So you embrace this calling with your whole heart. You lean into it, not timidly, but boldly. Because boldness doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It means you trust God enough to step forward even when you don't. It means you're willing to walk into rooms you've never been in before, speak words you've never said before, and carry yourself like someone who belongs. Because you do. You belong wherever God sends you. You are equipped for whatever He assigns to you, and you are protected in every place His presence covers you. Some may still doubt, some may still talk, some may still watch, waiting for you to stumble. But that's not your burden to carry. Your focus isn't on convincing them, it's on obeying Him. Because the truth is, when God begins to display His work in your life, even your silence will speak. The way you move, the peace you carry, the joy that radiates from you, it will testify louder than any explanation you could give. You are living proof that God's plan always prevails. So let the fruit of your obedience be your answer. Let the evidence of His goodness in your life be the only explanation you need. Walk in the kind of confidence that makes no apology for the blessings you carry. Because this isn't about showing off. It's about showing Him off. Every victory points back to the one who gave it. Every breakthrough is a reflection of His faithfulness. And every new level you step into is a reminder that you are not moving in your own strength, but in His. This is your time to step forward without hesitation. This is your moment to stop second-guessing whether you're ready and start believing that God knows exactly what He's doing. You are not here by accident. You are not walking into this season by chance. You have been prepared for it, prayed over for it, and positioned for it by the hand of the Almighty. And when He calls, you answer, not with fear, but with faith. Not with doubt, but with certainty. Not with insecurity, but with the unshakable assurance that if God is for you, nothing and no one can stand against you. So lift your chin, square your shoulders, take that step. You're not just stepping into a new chapter. You're stepping into the fulfillment of something God spoke over your life long before you could even understand it. This is what you were made for. And the world is about to see it. Not because you've been chasing recognition, but because you've been chasing Him. And when you chase Him, everything else falls into place. There's a story about Harrison Ford before the world knew him as Han Solo or Indiana Jones. Long before fame and fortune, Harrison was working as a carpenter. He had done small acting jobs, nothing big, nothing life-changing. But in that season, he wasn't known. He was hidden, working with his hands, building cabinets and tables to provide for his family. He was on a movie set, not as a star, but as a carpenter, when director George Lucas noticed him. Lucas remembered Ford from a small role years earlier and decided to ask him to read lines with the actors auditioning for Star Wars. Ford wasn't there to audition. He wasn't chasing the spotlight that day. But God had aligned the moment. In what seemed like an ordinary workday, his life turned. That carpenter's bench became the bridge to a global stage. That's how God works. People see the big break, but they don't see the years of preparation, the quiet prayers, the closed doors. the faithful work when no one was watching. They don't see the late nights where you cried out to God for guidance. They don't hear the silent yes you gave him when nobody else was around. They don't know about the obedience that didn't make sense, the sacrifices you made when the payoff wasn't visible. And then, suddenly, they see you standing in a place they can't explain. They saw the struggle, but they didn't see the surrender. They saw the waiting, but they didn't see the worship. They saw the obstacles, but they didn't see the obedience. Now they're looking at you and wondering, how did this happen? And the answer is simple. It wasn't by chance. It was by divine precision. God orchestrated it. He was in the room you didn't know existed. He was in conversations you weren't invited to. He was moving people's hearts in ways you couldn't see. Every hidden moment was building something in you that couldn't be built in public. You see, some seasons of your life are meant to be hidden. Not because you're forgotten, but because you're being formed. And formation doesn't happen under the bright lights. It happens in the quiet, in the obscurity, in the unseen hours when your faith is being strengthened and your character is being tested. When God moves you from hidden to honored, it's not an accident. It's not a stroke of luck. It's not because somebody finally noticed you. It's because God said, now is the time. The same way a flower blooms, not because it wants to, but because the season is right. God is bringing you into a season where what He planted in you is ready to be seen. And when it happens, it will be beyond explanation. Logic won't be able to hold it. People who tried to count you out will have to recalculate. People who thought they knew your capacity will have to rewrite their definition of you. Because what's about to show up in your life is not man-made. It's God-given. This is the shift. From waiting for the answer to living in the proof. You've prayed for provision. Now you're about to walk into overflow. You've been longing for peace. Now you're about to feel it like a river. You've been hoping for restoration. Now you're about to hold it in your hands. Areas of lack filled. Spaces of confusion settled. Places where there was chaos, peace will reign. And you'll know it's Him because it won't be something you manipulated. It won't be something you hustled your way into. It will be something only the hand of God could have opened. But here's the thing. You were never less than in your hidden season. Your worth didn't suddenly increase just because more people can see you now. Your value didn't skyrocket because your platform grew. You were just as valuable in the silence as you are in the spotlight. The difference is that now, what God built in you privately will speak through you publicly. This isn't about fame. This isn't about applause. This isn't about proving your critics wrong. This is about alignment with God's purpose. When He lifts you up, it's never so you can stand taller than others. It's so you can be a clearer reflection of His grace. And His grace is exactly what makes your story powerful. Because if it were all about your talent, your strength, your effort, people could explain it. But when it's about grace, all they can do is shake their head and say, it had to be God. So don't be surprised when people are confused by your transformation. They're only seeing the fruit. They didn't watch the seed being planted. They're looking at the harvest, but they weren't there for the plowing, the watering, the pruning. And pruning isn't pretty. Pruning hurts. But pruning makes room for more fruit. Some of you right now are feeling that transition. You can sense the doors opening. You can feel the shift in your spirit. Things that were delayed are suddenly moving. Conversations that were quiet are suddenly loud. Opportunities that didn't exist are suddenly right in front of you. And you know deep down, it's not coincidence. God is making visible what He has been doing invisibly. And here's where you have to be careful. When the honor comes, stay anchored in humility. Remember the hidden season. Remember the days when you had to trust God without seeing anything. Remember the prayers that no one heard but Him. Don't ever let the applause drown out the voice that sustained you in the silence. I think about Joseph in the Bible. His brothers threw him into a pit. He was sold into slavery. He was falsely accused and thrown into prison. For years, his life was hidden in places of limitation and confinement. But in one moment, God moved him from the prison to the palace. Pharaoh didn't just release him. He honored him, made him second in command over all of Egypt. But Joseph never forgot the God who was with him in the pit. And when his brothers came to him years later, afraid he would take revenge, Joseph said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done." That's the perspective you have to hold. This isn't just about you being elevated. It's about God's purpose being revealed. It's about the testimony of His faithfulness being displayed through your life. So when He brings you into that new season, wear it with gratitude, not arrogance. Speak with grace, not pride. Lead with service, not self-interest. Because the blessing was never just for you, it was always meant to flow through you. This next chapter of your life will be one that others can't explain, but they will be drawn to it. Not because of you, but because of the God they see in you. So walk into it boldly. Not timidly, not doubting, not apologizing for where God has placed you. You didn't promote yourself, He did. And if He placed you there, He will sustain you there. And when they ask you, "How did this happen?" look them in the eye and say, "It's not me, it's Him," because the truth is, the honor you're stepping into is just the visible sign of what God has been doing in you all along. The world is only catching up to what heaven already knew. And remember carefully, my friend, when God's grace begins to resonate in your life, explanations become unnecessary. You won't need to defend how you got here, why doors opened, or why people are suddenly treating you differently. The evidence will be undeniable. The fruit will be visible. And the only explanation you'll need, the only one worth giving, is that God did it. No resume could have arranged it. No networking could have secured it. No self-promotion could have sustained it. This is favor, pure and unearned by human effort. But hear me, favor doesn't always arrive in the way you think it will. It's not always announced with trumpets and grand ceremonies. Sometimes it shows up quietly, without warning, catching you off guard in the very place you thought was barren. You'll look around and realize the opportunity that found you didn't even require you to push, fight, or prove yourself. It came because the hand of God was already working behind the scenes, setting the stage for your arrival. This is the season where God's favor will not be short-lived. It's not a flash in the pan. It's not a temporary burst of blessing that fades as quickly as it came. No, this is enduring favor, the kind that settles over your life and stays. The kind that turns chance encounters into divine appointments. The kind that takes your simple obedience and multiplies it into influence you never imagined. And it will be clear to all who see you something greater than human skill is at work here. The beauty of it is that you will not have to strive for it. You will not have to exhaust yourself trying to hold on to it. Opportunities will come looking for you, not because you manipulated the system, but because God positioned you where His favor could find you. And when it does, it won't ask for your credentials, your explanations, or your reasons. It will simply rest upon you because He has declared this is your time. And yet, this favor will feel different. It will carry a weight of peace with it. You won't feel the panic of trying to maintain it because you'll know it didn't come from your own doing. You won't carry the anxiety of being found out because there's nothing fake here. This is the real thing. Favor that was birthed in the secret place. Favor that was nurtured through the waiting. Favor that was watered with tears you thought nobody saw. You'll remember the hidden seasons, those long stretches when it felt like nothing was moving. You thought you were forgotten, but you were actually being protected. You thought you were delayed, but you were actually being prepared. God kept you hidden because the favor that was coming needed the foundation of humility, and humility takes time to build. It is forged in the quiet, in the moments when nobody is clapping, when you are serving faithfully without recognition. And now, here you are, standing in the light of His favor, but with the strength of someone who has walked through shadows. You are not easily swayed because you know where your help comes from. You are not quick to boast because you know it was not your hand that lifted you. You are not desperate to explain because the proof is in the transformation. People will see the peace in your eyes, the steadiness in your walk, the joy that doesn't come from circumstances, and they will know. Something, or rather someone, has touched your life. And the truth is exactly that, my friend. For remember what God said in Psalm 75, 6-7. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But God is the judge. He putteth down one, and setteth up another. That means your advancement isn't random. It isn't luck. It isn't the product of who you know or what you've done. It's divine placement. God Himself has chosen this moment to raise you up, and when He opens a door, no man can shut it. When you understand this, you stop wasting energy trying to justify your blessings to people who may never understand. You stop rehearsing explanations in your head for why you deserve what you have, because you know the truth. You don't deserve it. And that's exactly what makes it grace. Grace gives where earning could never reach. Grace opens what striving could never unlock. Grace protects what pride could have destroyed. So when they ask, "How did this happen? How did you get here?" you'll smile and say, "God did it." Not in a cliché, surface-level way, but with the depth of someone who has walked the valley and climbed the mountain. With the conviction of someone who has felt the silence of waiting and the joy of seeing His hand move at just the right time. And it will be evident. You won't have to put your blessings on display. They will speak for themselves. Your peace will speak. Your stability will speak. The way you handle success with humility will speak. The way you treat people, even when you have nothing to gain, will speak. This kind of favor doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes you. It matures you. It grounds you. Do you realize that this is exactly why the waiting wasn't wasted? If God had given you the favor too soon, before your character was ready, it could have crushed you. But now, your shoulders have been strengthened to carry it. You've been refined to handle the influence without it corrupting your heart. that hidden season you resented was the very thing that made this season possible. You see, there's a sacred exchange happening here. Your surrender for His promotion, your humility for His elevation, your obedience for His reward. And when you think about it, that's the only way it should be. Because now when people see you advancing, they won't be able to give credit to anyone else. They'll have to admit, surely the Lord has done this. It will be undeniable, not because you shouted it from the rooftops, but because the fingerprint of God will be all over it. Your story will become living proof of what happens when a person trusts Him fully, waits on Him patiently, and obeys Him faithfully. The testimony of your life will encourage others to hold on just a little longer, to stay faithful just a little deeper, because they will see in you the reward of quiet faith finally honored. And maybe you're thinking, but why me? Why now? That's the beauty of it. You don't have to have a reason. God doesn't need anyone's permission to bless you. He doesn't need a council's approval to promote you. He doesn't need your enemies to agree before He lifts you higher. He will bless you simply because He loves you, because He has a plan for you, and because your time has come. So walk into this season with your head held high, not in arrogance, but in gratitude. Let your posture reflect the truth that you are standing in something you didn't earn, but you deeply value. And every time you're tempted to explain yourself, to justify your place, remember, you're not here because of people. You're here because of God. And when the time comes to tell your story, tell it with boldness. Tell of the nights you almost gave up. Tell of the days you couldn't see a way forward. Tell of the tears, the prayers, the surrender. Then tell of the moment God stepped in and turned it all around. Because that's the testimony that changes hearts. That's the story that reminds the world that He still moves, He still promotes, and He still honors those who trust Him. This, my friend, is your season of favor with no justification required. Let it speak for itself. Let your life be the evidence, and let every breath of gratitude point back to the One who made it all possible. And you know, my dear friend, that season was exactly like a holy ground, because God was shaping you in ways the world could not see. And now that His favor is starting to rest on you, you might notice something. People will start to misunderstand. They'll look at the open doors, the sudden opportunities, the grace you walk in, and they'll think it happened overnight. They'll think it came easy. But you will know the truth. It was birthed in the secret place. It came from conversations with God that no one else heard. It came from decisions you made when no one was watching. It came from obedience that cost you something. Obedience that required you to die to yourself so Christ could live through you. You see, God doesn't waste those hidden seasons. He doesn't leave them empty. Every quiet yes you gave Him was a seed. Every moment you chose prayer over panic, every time you stayed faithful when it would have been easier to quit, those were deposits in your spiritual account. And now, in His perfect timing, you're seeing the withdrawals. Blessings flowing, favor opening doors, influence increasing. This isn't random. This isn't luck. This is the fruit of connection. This is the reward of walking with Him when no one else was clapping, when no one else believed, when you had nothing but His word to hold on to. And here's the thing. You don't have to dim that light to make other people comfortable. You don't have to explain away the goodness of God in your life so it doesn't look like you're bragging. The blessing is not favoritism, it is alignment. It's not because you're better, It's because you're connected. You stayed in the vine, and the vine produces fruit. When you remain in Him, fruit is inevitable. So when people ask, "How did this happen for you?" you don't have to have a long answer. Your life will speak for itself. Your peace will answer. Your compassion will answer. Your unshaken presence will answer. And those who have eyes to see will recognize that this is God's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Some will still misunderstand. Some will talk. Some will project their own insecurities onto your journey. Let them. You're not here to manage their perception. You're here to steward His purpose. The same God who orchestrated every step of your path knows how to guard you now. He knows how to protect your name, shield your heart, and keep your spirit steady. You didn't manipulate your way here, so you don't have to fight to stay here. The same hand that brought you up will hold you in place. The same voice that called you out will keep guiding you forward. And isn't it beautiful how God works? He hides you when you need protection and reveals you when you're ready. Not when you think you're ready, but when you're truly ready. When the pride has been stripped away. When the roots of your faith have gone deep. When your character can carry the weight of your calling. That's why some doors didn't open sooner. That's why certain opportunities passed you by. God wasn't punishing you. He was preserving you. He was making sure that when the blessing came, it wouldn't crush you. That's the sacredness of the hidden season. It's where God strengthens the foundation so the building can stand. So if you're in that place right now, still unseen, still waiting, still wondering, don't despise it. You might feel overlooked, but heaven has its eyes on you. The hidden season is not a sign of delay, it's a sign of preparation. And one day, when the time is right, God will bring you into the light, and it won't be because you forced it. It will be because you were faithful with the little, and He decided it was time to trust you with more. But when that moment comes, remember this. The blessing is not the end goal. The favor is not the finish line. It's an assignment. It's a responsibility. It's a call to keep walking in the same humility, the same gratitude, and the same devotion you had when no one knew your name. Don't let the applause distract you from the one who anointed you. Don't let the crowd pull your attention away from the quiet place where your strength is renewed. If the hidden season built you, the public season will test you, and you will pass that test the same way you got here. By staying connected to the source. You may notice people asking for your secret, trying to figure out the formula, but you can't package a relationship with God into a 10-step plan. You can't sell intimacy with the Holy Spirit like a product. What happened in you was a work of grace, birthed in surrender, nurtured by obedience. And no matter how much people try to replicate the fruit, if they skip the root, it won't last. That's why your testimony matters. Not just the victory, but the process. Not just the open doors, but the closed ones that kept you on your knees. Not just the answered prayers, but the silent seasons where you prayed and nothing seemed to move. Yet you chose to believe anyway. So, when favor begins to show and others misunderstand, you can stand in quiet confidence. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to rush to defend yourself. The same God who saw you in the hidden season will vindicate you in the open one. And while the world tries to figure you out, you'll just keep walking with Him. Unshaken, compassionate, steady, because you know the truth. You are not here by accident. You are here by assignment. And the one who started this good work in you will be faithful to complete it. If this section feels like your story, if you've been in that hidden season and now you're starting to see glimpses of God's favor, don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it. Walk in it with humility, but walk in it boldly. You prayed for this. You sowed for this. You waited for this. And now, it's not about proving yourself. It's about proving Him faithful. Yes, my friend. To prove Him faithful is not just to whisper words of comfort when you're weary, or to offer encouragement when you're low. No. This is a divine summons, a sacred mission sent from heaven itself. Because when God chooses to elevate you, He does not do it in secret. He does not tuck it away in the shadows. He lifts you in the open, in front of those who doubted you, in front of those who said you'd never make it. And here's the truth. That lifting has nothing to do with chasing fame or proving anyone wrong. It comes because your heart has been tested in the fire and found faithful. It comes because you've learned how to carry blessing with humility, not with pride. The scripture says in James chapter 4, to 10, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will lift you up." That humility is not just a position you take in prayer. It's a posture you live with daily. You chose to walk low when you had every reason to exalt yourself. You chose to serve when you could have demanded to be served. That's why God can trust you, because blessings in the hands of the prideful become idols. But blessings in the hands of the humble become weapons for the kingdom. You see, God doesn't pour out increase just for the sake of it. He blesses with assignment. Luke 12:48 says, "To whom much is given, much will be required." That means every door He opens, every step He advances, it's not a trophy, it's a task. It's not for display, it's for stewardship. And when God sees that you're not clinging to the blessing, but holding it with open hands, ready to pour it out for His glory, that's when He can trust you with more. And the beauty of it is, you won't need to explain it. You won't have to defend the favor on your life. You won't need to respond to the whispers of, "Why them?" Your life will answer louder than any words could. The peace you carry will silence the noise. The strength you move in will declare God's hand upon you. You don't need to retaliate. Your overflow will speak. Because humility is the soil where divine increase grows. Pride suffocates the roots, but humility makes space for the harvest. You've seen it. People who rose quickly but fell just as fast because they made the blessing their identity. But you've let God keep you steady, and He's about to multiply what you refuse to idolize. Think about the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. The master gave one servant 5 talents, another 2, another 1, each according to their ability. And when the ones who received 5 and 2 invested what they were given, the master gave them more. But the one who buried his out of fear, he lost it all. Why? Because God is not looking for people who cling. He's looking for those who steward. Increase is meant to flow, not be hoarded. You've been faithful with little. Now get ready. He's setting you over much. That's why promotion no longer feels like a prize. It feels like purpose. You've come to understand. When God places something in your hands, He's not giving it for you to show off. He's giving it so you can pour it out. You're being entrusted with assignments, not rewards. And because your heart is bowed low, He can lift you high. You don't have to defend the anointing. You don't have to explain the fruit. Let another praise you, not your own mouth. Just stay focused. Keep your hands busy with what God gave you. The results will speak. People will look and know. That's not man-made. That's God-given. And here's the most sacred truth. God's increase is never just about you. When He blesses you, He has someone else in mind. Your overflow is someone else's breakthrough. Your testimony is someone else's reminder that God still moves. Don't clutch the gift. Cling to the giver. The moment you start guarding the blessing more than seeking His face, you limit what He can do next. But when you live with open hands and a bowed heart, He can keep filling. He can keep multiplying. He can keep lifting. Because when God lifts you, no man can pull you down. When heaven says, "Now is the time," every obstacle must step aside. When the time is right, God, the Lord, will make it happen. Your job isn't to make it happen. Your job is to remain faithful, remain humble, and stay in alignment with His will. You've walked through seasons where increase felt like a distant hope. You've waited. You've wondered. You've labored in silence, but He saw you. He saw your unseen sacrifices. He heard the prayers no one else knew you prayed. And now, just as He promised in Galatians 6:9, let us not grow weary in doing good. For at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. This is that proper time. This is the harvest of humility, the reward of hidden faithfulness. And when it comes, you won't need to announce it. You'll just be living it. And those who see you will know, God did this. So stay low, stay open, stay faithful. Keep your eyes on the one who promotes, not the platform. Because in the kingdom of God, increase is not the finish line. It is the starting point of the next sacred assignment. And my friend, hold your head high. The moment that change within you begins to manifest itself outwardly, you are living in that moment right now. You are no longer who you were, and heaven knows it. You are no longer the one people overlooked, dismissed, or counted out. God has been shaping you in the secret place, and now the evidence of that transformation can no longer be hidden. The very thing that used to weigh you down, the moments that used to burn with shame in your memory, they will now be replaced with dignity. Not the kind the world hands out and takes back at will, but the dignity that comes from walking under the covering of the Almighty. You see, this shift isn't just visible in the natural. It's being acknowledged in the spiritual realm. Heaven affirms it. Angels see it. And even the unseen forces of darkness have no choice but to recognize that you've crossed a line you cannot go back from. When God says a thing is finished, it is finished. When He marks a season as complete, it is complete, and you are stepping into a new one. What's about to happen in your life will not be something you have to advertise or explain. God is going to make His hand so evident, His presence so undeniable, that the people watching won't even be able to pretend it was your doing. No, they will have to admit, this was the Lord's work, and it is marvelous in our eyes. That's how He works. He makes sure the glory returns to Him. And this is not about ego. This is not about some platform to prove your worth to others. This is about the revelation of God's power through a life that refused to let bitterness win. You've been walking in humility when it would have been easier to shout your own defense. You've been obedient when no one seemed to notice. You stayed the course when others fell away. And now, the release is here. You're coming out of obscurity, not because you clawed your way into the light, but because the light found you. Your voice, the one God gave you before you even entered this world, is about to carry in a way you never imagined. Your calling will no longer be muffled. Your mission will no longer be buried beneath layers of delay and doubt. God Himself will amplify it. And when He does, you won't have to hustle for influence. Your very presence will carry weight, not because of your name, but because of the name above every name that rests upon you. This is the kind of elevation the world cannot explain. You will walk into rooms and not have to announce yourself, because the Spirit of God will go before you. People will sense it. They will feel something they can't quite name. Peace, strength, authority that comes not from human effort, but from divine appointment. And let me tell you something. When you walk in that kind of presence, you don't have to fight to be heard. You don't have to demand respect. The assignment you carry will speak for you. Right now, the enemy is in a panic. He sees what's about to unfold, and he knows he can't stop it. His mistake was always underestimating you. No, not you in your own power, but you covered in the blood of Jesus. He looked at the seasons when you were tired, discouraged, maybe even thinking about giving up, and he thought he could break you. But what he failed to see was that God's hand never left you. Even in your trials, provision was already set in place. Even when you felt alone, heaven's armies were stationed around you. The same situations the enemy thought would destroy you have now become the evidence of God's keeping power. Every trial that was meant to silence you is now fuel for the testimony that will draw others to Him. And here's what you need to understand. This season of public confirmation is not just for you. It's for the people watching who need to believe that God still does what He said He would do. There are folks who gave up on their own dreams because they thought God had forgotten them. They will see Him move for you and realize He can move for them too. The Lord is about to make a display of His faithfulness in your life. It will not be subtle. It will not be halfway. It will be undeniable. And when it happens, you will remember these hidden years, the prayers that felt unanswered, the nights when the silence was heavy, the times you wondered if it was even worth it. You will remember, and you will know it was worth every single moment, because God was building something in you that could not be rushed. This is why your voice matters now. It's not just the sound of your words. It's the weight of your story. It's the fact that you've been through fire and didn't come out smelling like smoke. You've been through loss, but didn't lose your praise. You've been betrayed, but didn't become bitter. And now when you speak, the authority in your tone will tell the truth. This person has walked with God. That's why your presence will carry significance without effort. You won't need to push doors open, because God will open the right ones at the right time. You won't need to manipulate your way into opportunities, because divine alignment will do the work for you. And when those doors open, you will walk through them with grace, because you know where you've come from. You know it wasn't your hand that brought you here. It was His. And I need you to hear me on this. This public confirmation is not about proving wrong the people who doubted you. It's not about vindication in the sense the world understands it. This is about heaven proving itself faithful. It's about God making His name great through your life. When He does it, you'll have the chance to point people back to Him, to say, if He did it for me, He can do it for you. The shift in you is permanent. You can't go back to being the person who lived for others' approval, because now you've tasted what it means to live for God's well done. You can't go back to shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable, because now you understand that your light was meant to shine, not to blind, but to guide, not to draw attention to you, but to point toward the one who is the light of the world. So yes, the enemy is panicked. And you know what? Let him be. His panic is proof that something in the spiritual realm has shifted in your favor. He sees the breakthrough on the horizon. He sees the release that's about to pour out. And there's nothing he can do to stop it. Even when you didn't see the provision, it was there. Even when you didn't feel the protection, it surrounded you. God has been your shield and your provider, and this next chapter will be a testament to that reality. You've been faithful with little, and now He's about to trust you with more. Not because you chased it, but because you proved you could handle it with humility. I think about a man whose name the world knows well, a man who walked the halls of greatness, but never forgot the dust from which he came. His name is Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A. Many know the restaurant, few know the man. Truett didn't start with billions. He started with a single diner in 1946, working day and night, flipping burgers and washing dishes with his own hands. The world would later know his business success. But if you listen to those who knew him best, they'll tell you his life was marked not by ambition alone, but by humility and stewardship. He tithed faithfully from his first dollar. He gave away scholarships by the thousands. He closed his restaurants every Sunday, even when competitors mocked him, because he believed in honoring the Sabbath and letting his employees rest and worship. And here's the truth. The more he honored God, the more God increased what was in his hands. It didn't make sense on paper. Logically, closing one of the busiest sales days of the week should have cut his profits. But Proverbs 11:25 says, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." God's math is not man's math, and Cathy's life became proof. What strikes me most is that Truett never wore his wealth like a crown. He wore it like a responsibility. He saw himself not as an owner, but as a steward, a caretaker of God's resources. That's why God could trust him with more. And that's the exact heart God is shaping in you right now. He's not blessing you so you can build higher walls. He's blessing you so you can build longer tables. So when the time comes, and it will, when people begin to notice what's in your life, and they ask, "How did you get here?" you won't have to give a long defense. Your answer will be simple and true. The Lord did it. Your humility will speak louder than any explanation. Your peace will silence their doubts. Your fruit will be the testimony. Because when God raises you up in plain sight, it is not for your glory, but for His. And here's the part the world will never understand. The more you give it away, the more He will give you to give. The moment you stop clutching at what's in your hand becomes open enough for Him to fill it again. That's why Jesus said in Luke 6:38, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap." That's not just a promise. That's a principle. Truett Cathy lived it. Countless men and women of faith have lived it. And you can live it too. And now, I want you to step right into this section and let the voice of truth cut through every lie the enemy has been whispering to you. I want you to hear me, and I want you to hear God's Spirit within these words. You are not alone. Say it with me. Say it right now where you are. I am not alone. When you declare that, you're not just speaking into the air. You are breaking a deception. You are shattering a chain. You are silencing the voice that's been trying to convince you that you've been abandoned, overlooked, or forgotten. You are calling heaven's reality into your earthly situation. You are pulling the light into the darkness. When you speak that truth out loud, something happens in the unseen realm. You invite God's presence to rise within you like a strong, steady wind in your spirit. You open your ears to hear His footsteps walking with you, even in the valley. You begin to feel the invisible company of heaven around you. Angels stationed on your left and on your right, the Spirit guiding you from within, the Father watching over every step you take. You are supported in ways your natural eyes cannot see. You are covered in ways your human mind cannot comprehend. And I want you to understand something. Every moment of loss, every tear, every night you thought would break you, it was never wasted. You didn't just survive it. You were being shaped by it. It was preparation. God was building something in you that comfort alone could never produce. He was fortifying your faith. He was teaching your heart how to hear His whisper above the roar of the storm. He was showing you that even when people walk away, His presence remains. That's why you're still here. That's why you haven't lost your mind. That's why, in spite of it all, something in you still believes there's more ahead. And I need you to know, something is shifting right now. Not in the way the world often celebrates, with fireworks or big announcements. This is a quiet shift, but it is holy. This is a spiritual turning point. Heaven is aligning something in your favor. The move of God is being set into motion on your behalf. And you may not feel the full weight of it yet, but the foundation is being laid even now. This is not your ending. It's not the close of your story. This is the beginning of divine movement. And when God moves, nothing can stand against it. I've seen this truth lived out in the lives of so many. And one story always comes to mind: Corrie ten Boom. During World War II, Corrie and her family risked everything to hide Jews from the Nazis. Eventually, she was caught, arrested, and sent to Ravensbrück concentration camp. In that cold, brutal place where death and despair filled the air, she clung to a simple truth. God was with her. She said it aloud to herself again and again: Jesus is here. That declaration became her lifeline. Surrounded by suffering, she found ways to worship. She prayed with her sister. She read the hidden Bible they had smuggled in. And even in the darkest days, she could feel heaven's company in that hellish place. When her sister eventually died, Corrie grieved deeply. But she never lost sight of the truth that she was not alone. She walked out of that camp alive, carrying the message of forgiveness and God's presence to the world. Her life is proof. When you declare you are not alone, even in the pit, you invite peace to stand guard over your heart. And that's what's happening for you right now. You're rising. Not because every problem has been solved, not because the battle is over, but because you know who holds your future. Your foundation is no longer shaking. You've been tossed by waves before, but now you know how to plant your feet on the rock that doesn't move. Restless thoughts will begin to settle. The endless what-ifs will lose their grip on your mind. The pressure you've been carrying will feel lighter. Not because it disappears, but because you'll realize you were never carrying it alone. God is your foundation. He is your peace, your shield, your anchor. His presence is the steady pulse that will keep you grounded when everything around you tries to spin you into confusion. And when you really know that, when it becomes more than words, when it sinks deep into your spirit, your whole posture changes. You stop walking like someone who's bracing for disaster. You start walking like someone who knows they're accompanied by the King of Kings. So today, I'm inviting you to do more than hear this truth. I'm inviting you to speak it, believe it, and live it. Stand in your room, in your kitchen, in your car, and say, I am not alone. Let it roll off your tongue until your spirit grabs hold of it. Let it be the soundtrack in your mind when worry tries to creep back in. Declare it over your children. Declare it over your marriage. Declare it over your health. Declare it over your future. Because when you declare His presence, peace follows. And when peace follows, you see more clearly. And when you see more clearly, you walk in the kind of confidence that no storm, no loss, no betrayal can take from you. This is the gift God is giving you right now, not the absence of trouble, but the presence of Himself in the middle of it. If you receive that, I want you to whisper it right now, almost like a prayer. God, thank you for being here. Thank you for never leaving me. Thank you that I am not alone. That's where your peace begins. And that's where your new chapter starts. My dear friend, you have come this far. This is heaven's confirmation for you. The waiting season is over. You have endured the delay, you have survived the doubt, and you have walked through the darkness without letting go of the one who lights your path. I want you to speak one thing out loud right now. Not in a whisper, but with the authority of someone who knows their Father's voice. Say, today is my time of clarity. Say it again. Let your own ears hear it. Let your spirit rise up to meet it. You're not just repeating words, you are signing heaven's contract over your life. You are aligning your voice with the will of God, because when you speak it, something happens. The Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue. That means your declaration carries weight. The moment you speak in faith, chains start to break, paths begin to clear, and doors that were locked swing wide open. Heaven moves at the sound of a believer's agreement. So don't be silent. This is your moment to agree with God. Look back for a moment. Think of how far you've come. Think of the storms you've survived, the tears you've cried, the battles you didn't think you could win. Yet here you are, not broken, not defeated, but standing. That alone is proof that God has been working on your behalf. You didn't get here by accident. You didn't survive by luck. You are here because God has been carrying you toward this very day. So right here, right now, I'm calling you to rise. Stand in the confidence of someone who has been chosen for this moment. Speak as someone whose time has come. Declare your agreement with heaven's decree. The wait is over. My time is now. My clarity has arrived. You've carried the weight long enough. You've stood in the hallway long enough. Today, you walk into the room that was prepared for you before you were born. This is not just about breakthrough. This is about stepping into the fullness of who God has called you to be. I want you to slow down right here. Take a deep breath. Let everything else fade. If you can, close your eyes. Forget about the noise around you. Forget about the weight of yesterday. Right now, imagine that the room you're in is filled with light. Not the light from a lamp, but the kind of light that warms you without burning, that comforts you without blinding. That's His presence. He is here, not far away, not distant. Here, close enough to hear your heartbeat, close enough to wipe the tear from your cheek, close enough to place his hand on your shoulder and say, "You made it." This is your altar. You don't have to be in a church building to have one. An altar is any place where you meet with God. And right now, this is holy ground. Your living room, your bedroom, your car. Wherever you are, it's been transformed into a meeting place between heaven and earth. Bring your heart to him fully. Don't hold back the pain, the questions, or even the doubts. Lay them down here. And start praying with me. Father God, we thank you for this moment. We thank you for the way you've led us, protected us, and carried us even when we didn't see it. Lord, I speak over the one listening right now. Let every chain of delay be broken. Let every spirit of fear be silenced. Release clarity over their mind, peace over their heart, and boldness in their steps. Father, let this be their turning point. Let them look back on this day as the day heaven confirmed their breakthrough. Fill them with the courage to walk into their purpose, and surround them with your favor in every step they take. In Jesus' name, amen. My dear friend, have you heard? Not from me, but from Father God. He sees you. He has chosen you, and he is sending you out as a light into the world. Your openness to receive this word, your hunger for truth, has not gone unnoticed. Heaven celebrates your willingness to believe. Your agreement with this message is not just for you, it is part of your assignment. You were meant to hear this, and you are meant to carry it forward. Share it, speak it, live it. Because someone else's breakthrough may be waiting on your testimony. Go now with peace. Go with his presence. Go with the assurance that his saisa, then his favor rests on you. And when the road gets hard, remember this moment, because he, the Lord your God, has declared it. The wait is over. Your time is now. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to say thank you for staying with me all the way to the end. I pray that as you leave this moment, you carry with you a renewed faith, a steady courage, and an unshakable connection to the one who called you. May God bless your steps, cover your home with peace, and surround your days with joy. Until we meet again, keep walking in your purpose. Keep trusting in his timing, and never forget, you are chosen, you are loved, and your best is still ahead. And if this message stirred something in you, if it lit a fire in your heart, or helped you see yourself differently, I want you to do 3 meaningful things. Like this video to let the light keep spreading. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what God is revealing next. And drop a comment below. Share the moment that struck your spirit, or just write, "I've been marked. I'm chosen." If you are truly awakened today, I want to hear it from you. This community is growing, and your voice matters here. Until we meet again, stay rooted in truth, stay anchored in grace, and never forget, you don't need to chase approval when you've already been appointed. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next message.